hope you're feeling groovy as we're about to review another movie.
Hey Terry,
Hey, buddy.
how are you, sir?
Feeling good, you?
I am doing well. Can you hear me?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very clear, clearly. Let me just turn up the volume. Good to see you again, sir.
Good to see you.
I see you're killing it, man. You stepped your
Thanks.
game up with everything.
I'm trying.
It's inspiring.
Guess yeah, I still got a lot more to learn, but yep.
It's inspiring. It's inspiring, man.
Well,
Being a
thank you.
being a fellow podcaster, like I understand how the challenges are going to come, but you're going to figure it out. You know what I mean? And you're going to develop your own way and your own style with
For
improving your
sure.
show.
Yeah. It's nice. I have so many people like yourself and other podcasters willing to help me so much. So it means a lot.
No worries. Sorry, that was just my dog howling. You heard that, right?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. He's a howler.
It's
He
all
he
good.
doesn't bark. He's a howler. So yeah, of course. If ever there is anything, I'm sort of like in any relationship or friendship that I have, I'm a bit of a tough lover. So it's like I want people to figure it out as well. Like I'll give those
Right.
tidbits or support, but I want people to Apollo, cut it out, man.
I'm sorry, that sounded so funny.
It's like every time I'm on a call, he knows. It's like he didn't do any of this before we got on the call. The moment we get on a call, he's starting.
That's funny.
But I want to encourage people to kind of figure some things out the way I did. You know what I mean? Because only you know what your show should look like or what you want it to feel like, or sound like, etc. Because it's
Right.
your baby. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you remember, but like I told you that this is like the third version of my show that I've gone through. Because the first two versions, it wasn't what I wanted it to look like.
Right. Right.
And I guess sometimes that happens for folks, like you'll have to go through a couple of iterations before you get to the one, like third time's a charm.
Yeah. And then just because something doesn't work out doesn't mean it won't work out. Like Samuel L. Jackson's one of my favorite actors, and he didn't even become um, successful enough to live off acting until his 40s.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And now he's like the most famous black actor.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. Like no one can question your timing. Like it's your time when it's your time.
Yeah.
Even you can't call it. Like sometimes you'll think, "Oh, I'm grinding from 18, 19, 20, 21," but your big break comes at like 45. So,
Sure.
it what are some things that like you've learned recently with the whole show and what you've been doing?
Well, I've had a friend, Jur Taker, who's been helping me a lot and kind of gave me a direction of like how to take notes, how to make it seem more personal when I'm talking to people. And there's still a lot more stuff I gotta learn, but it's just nice kind of having someone who's done it for like 10 plus years and just giving me advice and is actually paying attention to what I'm doing instead of just telling me to figure it out myself, kind of give me guidance, give me a direction.
Yes. Yeah, you got to have that healthy balance, right? Cuz you're going to figure things out on your own through that journey as well.
Right.
So it's good to have that guidance, and I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
Today, so we're just gonna touch base on Gladiator. I'm already recording, if that's okay with you, because I felt like
Yeah.
our intro
Yeah.
convo would be good.
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me on the Who and How Clip.
100%. Thank you for coming on again. You know, we're gonna do these ongoing film reviews, right? So this is
Yep.
a good way to start. Um, Let's so the last time we spoke, sorry, let me do my little intro quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what you're listening to today, this is the Who and How Club. You know the slogan, you are the Who and How Club. I am the Who and How Club, and we are the who's and hows of this world. Without you, without me, there is no we. So while we're here together, why don't we just sit and review some movies together and talk about our favorite movies, our favorite TV shows, things that we like, things that relate to us or that we feel relate to us in these artistic ways, whether you're watching film, television, you know, comic books, whatever, cartoons from your childhood. We're going to talk about it all. If you don't know who we have on today's episode, it is Terry. Now, the last time we spoke with Terry, we showed up on his show, which is the Faithful Film Fanatic podcast, and we reviewed Training Day. We didn't get to finish that review, but
Nope.
I know we'll get to it sometime. So I figured, you know, since that episode, Terry and I were speaking, and he was speaking with Carlos, my manager, and we're figuring out ways to continue to collaborate with one another. And Terry knows how much I love movies. I know how much Terry loves his movies, hence his the title of his show and what his show represents. And we got to know Terry last time. He got to know me. So we said, you know what? Why don't we get back together, review another film that kind of means something to both of us, and see how the vibe goes. Do I got that right?
Yes, sir.
Did I miss anything?
Not that I know of. Since you mentioned the Training Day, did you want to like kind of go final thoughts on Training Day, or just kind of just
I think we could
or
do.
how,
I think we could do, if you agree, I think we could do like a Training Day part 2, because I think we titled it part 1, right? So
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah.
they'll be expecting a part 2, so we should have like an episode specifically dedicated to the rest of Training Day, if you agree. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Why don't you tell the people just how you've been lately, you know, like answer the question, like just how are you? Like how are you doing? How is Terry doing?
I'm doing really good. I've gotten to do some of the stuff I've always wanted to do. Feels it feels like things are working out. I am getting to
Sorry. Sounds like he's dying. What the hell? Are you okay? Are you in heat? What is this? Like, just relax, man. Jesus.
I'm it's all good. I'm getting to be a actor in the Great Passion play. I got to move to Eureka. Have a job I like a lot more, have more time to work on my podcast, get to do some volunteer work, meet some really good people. And so it's just been very interesting. The only downside is I'm 200 miles from my family, and I've never really been long without my family. And it's been like 3, 4 months, and I just miss them a lot. But that's the only downside.
Wow. What a big move for you. So you said
Yeah.
you're acting in a play right now? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And what's the play called?
Yeah, the Great Passion play.
And what's that about?
It's
Yeah.
so are you familiar with the Bible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We kind of spoke
Uh
about our beliefs and stuff
right.
last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been so long. I forgot
No,
a
no,
little
no. It's
bit.
okay. Yeah, I know how much God plays a role in your life, and me too as well. Just not on the religious side, but I know you're very religious,
Yeah.
so we kind of spoke about that.
Uh
So yeah.
yeah. The Great Passion play is just a play telling you the story of Jesus dying for your sins, just from the New Testament, from the Bible.
And what's your role in the play? What's your role?
Um, so right before the season ended, because I joined right at the end of the season, I was a cross thief, so I got to hang on the cross.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting,
Wow.
and I get to play with fake blood, and so like every night I just get it all over my face and just get as bloody as I can.
Yes.
Actually, one funny story though, real quick, was one night during the play, I was thinking a lot about this time period in history and thinking about all the movies I've watched. And I was trying to be very convincing. And because they are taking me to the cross and I'm supposed to be very weak, I
Yes.
started limping and limping. And then the actors kept asking me if I was okay because they thought I was actually hurt.
Right.
And then one of the actors playfully punched me, and I tried reacting like it hurt real bad,
Right.
and they actually thought they hurt me,
Right.
and so it kind of, my idea kind of backfired because they thought I was actually hurt, and I was just trying to act really good.
So you're a good actor. You're pretty much a good actor because they're believing that you're actually hurt, right? Like
Yeah,
that's a skill
yeah,
to have. Another skill I want to point out of yours, first off, is like the way you're speaking right now is totally different from when we first met. Like you sound more confident. You sound more like just on the ball, and I want to commend you for that. Have you been kind of like stepping out of your comfort zone lately? Does this play
yeah,
a role in that? Your podcast since our last conversation, even?
yeah. I think everything has been me out of my comfort zone. I also think that this is a little bit easier because I kind of already know you, and if it was the first time again, I probably would be a little nervous, a little
Yeah,
shaky from time to time. But
yeah.
once you get used to somebody, it gets a little bit easier.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Same with me. Like I'm glad that we've been able to build this connection, and only God knows what the future is going to hold for like these ongoing themed episodes and stuff like that, you know? So I'm happy. I'm
Yeah,
glad that we've made this connection and this collaboration. Before we get into the actual review of Gladiator, and maybe, you know, we got some new listeners today, whether they're going to be listeners from your end or my end, and we're going to build a bridge. Just share a bit of where you come from so that people get an idea on how this connection was built. Like, where do you live? You said you moved to Eureka. Is that the place?
yeah.
So where are
So
you
I moved.
originally from? And then, yeah, talk about Eureka.
So I'm originally from Cabot, Arkansas. I've lived in Cabot my whole life and didn't never really cared that much for Cabot because there's really not a whole lot to do in Cabot. And but my parents went on vacation and told me about the Great Passion Play, and I've always loved acting, and I always wanted to pursue acting and a career in movies like this podcast. And so I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to move down here to Eureka Springs and be part of the Great Passion Play and just see how things work. And right now I live in a motel, so it's not like the wealthiest lifestyle, but
Yeah.
it's fun. It's different. You get to meet new people every day.
So how long will you be in Eureka for?
Um, my plan, I guess, is permanently or until I get a better opportunity, I guess. Um, what I've been hoping for a lot is every once in a while they will film low budget movies or movies at the Passion Play. And I'm hoping that sometime down the road, I'll get an opportunity to be in a movie. And sometimes they film movies in Fayetteville and just wherever it takes me, just, I guess, just taking a leap of faith.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't hear that, that's Fayetteville, which is the same place that J. Cole is from, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's from Fayetteville, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, Arkansas is the South, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah. That's cool.
yeah. So I think he's from there. That's really inspiring, Terry. Like for real. Like I'm inspired. Like after I get off the phone, this call with you, I might go look up some opportunities and try to get involved because I've always wanted to act and stuff as well. And I've modeled and stuff in the past, but I've kind of put a hold on that because of, you know, COVID and stuff like that. I wasn't really sure where the industry was going.
Right.
But I really want to get involved in some more creative stuff. So just seeing your growth is truly, truly inspiring. So I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you for being here today. And
Well, thank you.
yeah, let's get into it. We got about we're 15 minutes in, so we got a little bit of time. So let's just go into it. How do you want to start with Gladiator? You want to start from the beginning, or
Real quick, I thought it was kind of interesting how reviewing. I just thought it's interesting how God works. Like how I was and I'll continue when the season starts back up, being in a play that takes place during Roman history,
right?
and here we are reviewing a movie that takes place in Roman history. So I just thought that was cool.
And you want to hear what's so crazy? Here's another like tidbit. So you're saying that, right? That's
Yeah.
totally, it's like ironic, right? And it's like spot on and right on time for the theme. Another thing that I find very interesting is that this week, the director of the movie, Ridley Scott, I don't know if you saw this report, but he was slamming superhero movies. And he himself said that he created 3 superhero movies, and one of them being Gladiator. So, what are the odds of the director of the movie that we're going to review this week makes a report, like makes a statement in the news, and it's all over the internet right now because he's slamming like superhero movies, saying that they don't really have great scripts. What is really considered to be a superhero, because he feels like he created superhero movies with Alien, with I forget the character that Sigourney Weaver plays. I think her name is not Ridley, Ripley. And then his second superhero movie is Gladiator. And his third superhero movie is just Harrison Ford. Because I think he did, if I'm not mistaken, I think Ridley Scott also directed Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So he says Harrison Ford, just as his own entity, is a superhero. So I just found it weird that you're in this play, then the director, Ridley Scott, made this comment this week, and now you and I are on a call, and we're going to speak about one of his movies. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but I think that is so weird because like both Alien and Blade Runner are both sci-fi, and when I think of superhero, I think of sci-fi, and there's nothing sci-fi about Gladiator.
Right.
So I don't I'm not I don't understand how Ridley Scott thinks it's a superhero movie. I mean, he's the director; it can be whatever he wants it to be. I
Yeah.
just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the term superhero could be, you could be a superhero in your own right, in your life, and maybe if there's some adversity that you've made it out of, or you've gone to battle and fought for things that you believe in. I think that makes you a bit of a superhero. You know what I mean? Like, I think he's just looking at Maximus as a hero. He's the hero of the story, and
Right.
unfortunately, he doesn't survive per se. But um, you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, right?
Right, but I feel like a hero and a superhero are two totally different things.
Talk to me.
So when I think of a hero, I think of like someone in the military or
Yes.
a movie about someone saving something or someone. But when I think of a superhero, I think of someone with superpowers.
Right. Right.
And Maximus doesn't have superpowers.
Neither does our guy from Blade Runner or Ripley.
Okay, I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
haven't
they don't.
watched those movies in a while. But
Yeah, they don't.
that's interesting.
Well, do you agree with him with the whole superhero thing? Like, they don't have good scripts, like those movies and stuff. I don't think you could compare a Ridley Scott movie to like a Captain America movie. Like from the what are their names? The guys that directed like the Avengers and stuff like that. I forget their names, but can you even compare
But
those kinds of movies?
Infinity War, Infinity War is the only really good, in my opinion, Marvel movie within the last that I have seen within the last 5, 10 years. It's the only movie that dared to be different and went outside the comfort zone of your stereotypical superhero movie.
Right.
And even I did not hate Endgame, but it made me mad that Disney made a movie to fix everything that happened in Infinity War, as if Infinity War never existed.
Right. It's the Russos, by the way. The Joe Russo.
Russo's,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. The brothers. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Infinity War. Even though Infinity War is is sort of like the prelude to Endgame, I still like Infinity War the most. I don't know
Me
why.
too.
Something about Endgame,
Well,
I just don't. Yeah.
for me, Infinity War is the only superhero movie I've seen where the superheroes lose. And because it was different, that's why I like it so much.
And then also, yeah, I like. Yeah, they actually went through something tragic in that movie. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. I feel like that movie, it's just so interesting, like front to back. Like I don't feel like I'm watching a superhero movie. I just feel like I'm watching some people who are going through some. Like imagine if that happened in real life. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um,
You could relate to them a lot more.
in
You're not
Infinity
like
War,
these
yeah,
supernatural people that are almost like gods almost. They actually felt like people.
yes, yes. So then mirroring Infinity War and Gladiator, like Gladiator, he loses. Do you feel like he loses in the end? Like when we look at Gladiator, because he passes, right?
Yeah, I I don't think he loses. And my reason for that is like you think about the movie Gladiator, like what is the theme of the movie? Like what's the goal?
Mm-hmm.
The the goal is going home.
Yes,
Like
yes,
whenever at the very beginning of the movie, all he wants to do is stop fighting and go home.
yes.
And as stuff changes throughout the story, home kind of changes where home is. And at the very end, he finally gets to go home.
Huh. I agree. Yeah, I like that. That ending, that final scene has always kind of stuck out to me in my mind. Like with the field and everything like that. And they've been speaking about bringing Gladiator, like doing a sequel. Have you heard of that?
No, I
Yeah,
don't know how that would be.
I know, right? There's been this talk for years on years about the sequel being based on uh, like Maximus not really dying, or like I don't know, like taking it, maybe even making it more of a prequel, or even him within the like the afterlife kind of thing. So I read a report and it said that in April 2021, Chris Hemsworth, speaking of Avengers, right, approached Russell Crowe with a proposal to become involved with the sequel, with the intention to co-produce the film while working together on Thor: Love and Thunder. The two actors shared additional ideas for the film, and by September 21, Ridley Scott stated that the script was once again beginning to be worked on, with his intention being to direct the sequel upon the completion of production of another project that he's working on. So it sounds like they're really going to go through with a friggin' sequel to Gladiator. And I'm like, I don't know how he's going to pull this one off.
That's another thing that's interesting, kind of like fits into my theme of my podcast this year, is about how like movies are always just about like what gets the most amount of money. Like newer movies aren't as good as older movies. And that's one interesting thing. It's like the only reason I feel like they would make a sequel is because it's going to make a lot of money.
Right. And then, ironically, that would be Ridley Scott kind of following those superhero movies, like the same
Yeah, just
movies
all
that
about
he's
money.
yeah, the same movies that he's shutting down. But I know he's an artist, and I know that Gladiator means so much to people. So it could go one of two ways. He either tarnishes the legacy of that movie, or he actually makes it really good, and makes it make sense. Um, and he was saying it could either be a prequel or a sequel set like 15 years. If it's a sequel, it might be set 15 years later, but I don't know. And then if you think about superhero movies, superheroes never die. They always come
Right.
back to life. So like it's like he's slamming superhero movies, but then at the same time, he's kind of
He's making
following that.
superhero movies.
He's making a superhero movie.
That's funny. That is funny.
So I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but do you think he should just leave it alone?
Yeah, I I think that there are certain movies that are left better alone, and then there are some movies that need a continuation. But
Okay.
like I hate when movies end on cliffhangers
Yes.
and they never make a follow-up movie.
Yes. Yes. Those are like yeah. But they set those movies up on purpose for hoping for a sequel to come into play. But just some movies don't need a cliffhanger or a sequel, like just end your movie off right, man. Just end it. A lot of people don't know how to end a movie, man. A lot of movies don't
That's
end
true.
really right, really good,
Yeah, I'd say like I like writing and I write a lot, and I'll say that like writing the beginning and ending of the story is the most difficult part.
Yes.
Anybody can write the middle.
Yes. Do you find that Gladiator ended the right way? Like it ended the way
Yeah,
you felt complete when it ended?
yeah,
Yeah.
because I felt like that was the theme of the movie. I
Right.
mean, like movie like Castaway, it's not really about Tom Hanks being shipwrecked on an island. It's about relationships. And so the movie Gladiator, it's not really about him surviving gladiator games. It's about his journey to home. And he finally got to go home.
Hmm.
At least that's the way I look at it.
I interpret it in a similar way because his family, home for him is his family.
Yeah.
In the
And his
beginning,
family's dead.
yeah,
And
and his family's dead. Yeah. In the beginning, he wanted to go home to his family who were alive.
right.
So his home was with his family that's alive. Now that his
Right.
family's dead, his home is now he wants to go home wherever they are is his home, whether they're
Right.
dead or alive. That's how I interpret it. He was done fighting. He was ugh, I hate Joaquin
Yeah.
Phoenix's character in this movie.
That is funny that you said that because I was actually going to take a stab at him. So, like, first time I watched this movie in like July, but right before I got sick and we had to postpone the review and stuff.
Yeah.
I hated Joaquin Phoenix in this movie just because it was the first time I'd ever watched a movie of his after the Joker. And even though this movie is 19 years before the Joker, I thought that Joaquin Phoenix would like deliver the same as he did in the Joker, and
Right.
I was disappointed.
So you were disappointed in his what were you disappointed in?
Well, okay, I'm not sure if I was disappointed in his acting of his character
Yeah.
or if I was disappointed in his character because there were certain times it felt like he was a very poor actor and being way
Yes. I know
over
what you mean.
dramatic.
I know what you mean.
But
Yeah, yeah.
at the same time, what if like that was his character? Because like you think about Star Wars movies, and Anakin's a lot like that same way, but that is his character.
Yeah.
Like if you were in Anakin's shoes, you'd probably be all whiny and fussy the same way he is. And so, like maybe in this specific movie, maybe it wasn't a bad acting. Maybe that was just his character. I don't know.
I think it's hard to like to go back and you're watching a movie in the present, something that was made like let's say this year or last year, and then going back to see an actor's range from back then which isn't that long ago, but it's still early in someone's career, right? Like Joaquin
Right.
Phoenix was pretty young at that time, so his acting chops, they were good for that time, but he's only gotten better with time, you know.
I have to interrupt this episode to tell you something I've been dying to share with you. Have you heard of the company Habits 365? You haven't? Do you live in the cave? I support Habits 365 because you get great quality clothes, and by you giving money to them, you're helping spread positivity every day of every year. What's better than that? I'll tell you what's better than that. If you buy something from them and you, by clicking the link below, going to their website, use promo code Faithful Film Fanatic in all caps, and I'll save you some money too. So really, it's a win-win. What are you waiting for? Let's get back to the episode.
So it's hard to go back and take him in the same way you would take him during like a movie that he's done today, like The Joker, or like another
Right.
movie that he's done called The Master. Like his range is crazy. Like I really respect him as an actor. But I remember like when that movie came out, Gladiator, sorry, I watched it in the theater with my mom. My mom took us to see it, and I always liked like these types of movies, right? So I remember just saying to myself, "Yo, he's a really great actor at that time." But watching his growth, he's definitely become greater, you know. So, but it's hard to mirror both timelines. Like watching a movie in 2021 from an actor versus a 1999, the way movies were filmed and scripts were written and the drama, they were just expressed so differently, you know.
Yeah.
But he's still a good actor. You agree, right?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of his earlier films, but like, obviously, like the Joker, he's a good actor for being able to do what he did in that movie, and you know, I mean, he was a good actor in this, but not as good. But that's just part of character growth and getting better with your craft. So
Did you know that there were other actors set to play Maximus who like auditioned for the role? Did you know?
I did not know about Maximus, but I did know that there were other ones wanting to play as Commodus.
Yes. Yeah. A couple people who were like Mel Gibson was offered the role at first, apparently, before Russell Crowe. But I think Mel Gibson, he felt like he was too old. I think I read that Antonio Banderas wanted to, I think he auditioned or he was considered or something. Hugh Jackman. And this was like before X-Men for Hugh Jackman, you know, like right around
Right?
the same time. So Tom Sizemore. So it's pretty cool to see like who was really interested in it. And then with Russell Crowe being Maximus and working with Ridley Scott, it pushed them to work together numerous other times afterwards, because they did like
Right.
American Gangster together, which is like the Frank Lucas kind of biopic, and they did a Robin Hood movie together. So I feel
Yeah.
like Ridley Scott and Russell Crowe, they make like a good combination, you know?
You're right. Sure. Um, I've read that Jude Law was one of the options to play Commodus. Do you think Jude Law would have been better than Joaquin Phoenix at this certain time period?
It's so hard to put someone else in that role, you know? Like as we were speaking, I was even thinking about Antonio Banderas being Maximus, and it's like, I don't know, man. It's hard to picture once a movie like that comes out and it makes such an impact, it's hard to envision anyone else in
Yeah.
those roles. Jude Law is a good actor too, but I think he could do a role like I'd like to see Jude Law in a role like that now today, you know? Like I think he was in a King Arthur movie last year and he was like a bad king or whatever. I didn't watch that movie, but I know that it exists, and he could play like a bad guy now, but it's hard to see anyone else in that role. I think that was made for Joaquin, and he had that whininess to him too. He was a brat. He was a brat.
Yep.
And he was sick in the head, man. He killed his own father. Did you get the theme of like him liking his sister, like loving his sister?
Yep.
What is up with
Yep.
that?
I don't know. It kind of reminded me of Game of Thrones again. It's like Game of Thrones all over.
I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I've heard I've heard people sleeping with their aunts on that show and stuff like that.
Well,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know about ants, but there's a lot of incest of brother and sister in the show.
Why? Like why?
I don't know. Like, it's the way the show goes about it. It doesn't really feel that nasty because they normalize it, which I'm not saying is right, but like as you're watching the show, you kind of that it's still kind of gross, but you tend not to think about it as much. I mean,
But
it's overall a good show, but there's just some really like the first couple seasons of that series is more about sex, I feel like, than the story. But then as the story progresses, it starts getting really good.
yeah, that's why I didn't really watch the show. I felt like it was overly like sexed, like hyper sex. Like I don't want to. I could care, like it's gratuitous. It's like unnecessary,
Yeah.
Like I don't want to indulge
Yeah.
in this, and I don't know why they have to put stuff like that in the show. Like I don't. Do they even
Well-
do they know that they're siblings? Or
Well,
is it
they're
like
not-
go?
No, the characters are siblings. The actual actors aren't. But
no,
like
no,
in the
for sure. Yeah.
in the yeah, but in the story, yeah, they know that they're siblings.
So they know. It's not like something where it happens and then they find out later on that they're related. It's like
No.
they know.
Yeah, they know.
Jesus.
I'll tell you what though, like talking about HBO, that kind of goes back into what I was talking about earlier, how people put stuff into movies and shows just to make it sell.
Right.
And like Game of Thrones, Westworld, like those shows had so much nudity in it because nudity sells.
Right.
It doesn't offer anything to the story, doesn't, but people will pay money for that. So, but it's kind of weird because, like, to that certain extent of nudity that was in Game of Thrones and Westworld, like, if someone wanted to watch that nudity to that certain extent, why not just watch porn or something else? Why do you have to put that into a show?
That's what I've always said, Terry. It's so weird that you're saying this. Like I don't think these things should be in TV shows because you have other options to go look at that at. Like, I don't want this. I feel like it's gratuitous. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with the story, but it just gets added
Exactly.
into it. So it's like, I get what you're saying, like sex sells, right?
Yeah, like think like how many soda ads you see on TV where it's a woman in a bikini drinking soda,
Right.
and that's what makes people buy soda. And
Right.
it's just kind of sad that it's like that. But
So what do you think Gladiator used to kind of sell, or like what made Gladiator, like what kind of elements do you feel Gladiator had in it to kind of make it so great, like the film that it is today?
the action, if it didn't have as good of like there, not just that there are a lot of action sequences, but like the way the action sequences were, because this was before Lord of the Rings, and
Right.
they had really, really good action sequences that weren't copycat of something else. It was them doing it,
Right.
and so I think that just draws a lot of attention in itself. And it's not like one of those action sequences are so long, like John Wick, that it gets boring.
Right.
Like it's kept fresh.
It's well balanced with like the story, the drama. There's a lot of drama. Like that movie is really focused on family, right? It's
Right.
kind of like the Fast and the Furious movies, not to compare, But the reason why
Right.
Fast and the Furious has become the movie that the film series that it is, it's like it focuses so much on family that
For
everyone
sure.
can relate to it. Females, males, young, old. That concept of family is in there, and like Gladiator had that, right? It's like,
Right.
what am I? I'm fighting for freedom. I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting for principle.
Well, wouldn't that all fall under the same thing? I mean, because you think about if Maximus won the Gladiator games, won his freedom back, and but he wasn't with his family, then did he truly have freedom? Because now he's still not really happy, and he's still suffering in pain because now he has to go on live his life without his family.
Huh. I like that because it kind of mirrors like real life. Like if you think about people who are like rich, right? Or who become
Right.
wealthy or whatever, or they were born with a silver spoon and they still don't end up being happy, because they don't what's really supposed to make them happy doesn't make them happy. And then we on the outside look at them and they're like, "Oh, they have all the riches in the world. Why aren't they happy?" But it's like those core things at your core, you're in your heart, your soul. You're not happy. You're not even happy with yourself. So it's like Maximus could win. He could get all the riches. He could be given the power. He put down power. Like he didn't want the power that Joaquin Phoenix's father was going to give to him. He didn't even want it.
Right. Nope.
So it shows you what type of character of a man he is and what means something to him versus what the king's son wanted, Joaquin
For sure.
Phoenix, he wanted that power. You could see what he would have done with that power and still not be a happy person. But Maximus was a simple man, a loyal man. And he could have won and gotten all the accolades, but if he didn't have his family, then he's not fulfilled.
For sure. And in a weird way, that reminds me a lot of Jim Carrey because I like Jim Carrey a lot, and I've done lots of research on him in the past. And something he talks a lot about is how he wishes everybody could experience what it's like to be a celebrity and to what it's like to have wealth. And because he was talking about how it's not all that it sounds to be, and he was saying that he grew up poor in Canada, and he thought that happiness would come when he was a famous celebrity. And then when he finally moved to America and things started working out and he became famous, that things didn't work out that way because anytime he was with somebody, he's always having to ask if they really cared about him or if they were just with him because of his money.
Wow.
And he talked a lot about how he was depressed for so long, and a lot of comedians are actually really depressed, which is really sad.
Yeah, I mean the Robin Williams thing.
Yeah.
What's his name? Not Will Ferrell. What's the guy from Beverly Hills Ninja? I know his name.
Chris Farley.
Chris Farley. Sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say Farrelly, but the Farrelly brothers, they're the guys who did There's Something About Mary and stuff like that. But yeah, Chris Farley, like all of those guys, they weren't happy, man. And that's the sad clown concept. Like we see these clowns and they're supposed to bring other people joy and always have a smile on their faces, but no one asks the clown like, how are you? Or the person behind the makeup, no one really knows what's going on, so
Yeah. Robin Williams, my favorite quote from him is always be kind because you never know what war someone is facing.
what war someone is facing.
Yeah.
Damn, that's deep.
Yep.
That's deep. Yeah. I mean, but celebrity or not, like we all go through those things, like it's all of us,
Yeah.
like it's everyone. It does, just because you're a celebrity or you have money or you're the opposite of that, like it doesn't exempt you from things like depression,
That right, that's true, but I would argue and say that being a celebrity could make what's normal for us 20 times worse because you have everyone watching and paying attention to you. It's like anytime you mess up, it's in the gossip magazine, paparazzi's got it, people are talking about it. Like the whole thing with Alec Baldwin. Did you hear about what happened with Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I've been watching TikTok videos where paparazzis are like interfering with his family time, talking bad to him in front of his wife, his kid, and just get involved in his personal life. And like, I can't say I agree everything about Alec Baldwin and the way he lives his life, but I feel so bad for the guy having to go through all that.
Uh, well, what? How does that even happen? Like, who put a real gun on set?
Well, you think about what you see in movies, a lot of times they have to make it look real, and prop guns are made to look real. So when you're watching it, it's real. So Alec Baldwin probably just did what he was told. He didn't know it was a real gun.
But who in the world would put a real gun on set? Like, how careless could you be? Like, that's the same thing with the Brandon Lee thing. You know
Yeah.
Brandon Lee?
Yep.
Like, we've seen this before. Are people not learning lessons? Like, what is going on? How does something that happened in like 1995 repeat itself in 2021? Like, who is placing these real guns on set and having real bullets, and we're shooting a film.
Yeah.
Like, I think people aren't speaking about that. I think the person who allowed that gun to be on set should be held accountable, not Alec Baldwin.
But something else, this is completely off topic, but I've like over the years, I've always been kind of fascinated with Hollywood, and I've dug a lot into Hollywood, and there is a lot of corruption in Hollywood,
Yes.
and something that tends to happen is when someone is a threat, then their lives will get ruined, just
Yes.
like how people are chewing out Alec Baldwin right now. So something I'm thinking about is like, what if Alec Baldwin just maybe did something that someone didn't like, and
He got
that's
set up
why it
kind of
was.
thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I hope I'm wrong, but that's where I'm thinking.
I think anything is possible. Like, there was a lot of conspiracy with even Brandon Lee, and like why that happened to him, and that was Bruce Lee's son, and a lot of people didn't like Bruce Lee because of him teaching like all cultures and all the secrets of martial arts and stuff like that. So that was like a get back for them. Like, there's all these conspiracy theories, right? But at the end of the day, you and I both know common sense. There shouldn't be real guns on set or real bullets,
For
bottom line.
sure, for
So
sure,
who the
yeah,
hell,
for sure.
who's the culprit in all of this stuff?
It's a good question, for sure.
We're jumping around. We're jumping around. We're talking about
Yeah.
movies. We're talking about everything but Gladiator. But it
I
all kind of
apologize for that.
no. It's not you. It's me too. We're just kind of we're showing the people our love for films and everything revolving around films. Whether we're talking about on sets, how they make films, and the conspiracies behind them, and the trials and tribulations of our favorite actors. I think it's cool. Let's touch a little bit more on Gladiator, and of course, whatever we don't finish today, we could always continue on another day and just continue the conversation. Talk about maybe let's pick a very specific moment in the film that means the most to both you and I. And maybe we could just start off with that and share with the people what part of that film kind of means the most to us individually.
Well, for me, what I liked a lot was how Joaquin Phoenix's character was so arrogant and ignorant, and the fact of challenging Maximus at what he's the best at, tries to cheat at it and still loses. And then Maximus, at the very end, dies, and it's actually a happy ending because he finally gets to reach that goal to see his family.
Yes. I think for me is like when he's in the Coliseum and he's asking the people, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? It kind of mirrors real life in a way. Like you could give so much, even your life, and folks won't be satisfied with that. You know what I mean? Or like they actually want to see your demise. Like there are so many hidden messages in the movie, right? And I feel
For
like
sure.
if you really pick it apart, you can adapt it to even what's going on today and with social media and stuff like that. Like it's just crazy. It's just crazy how a film could have so many behind the scene hidden messaging. And when you're making a movie like that, you don't really know it, right? You don't know how much of an impact it's going to have culturally or for the future even. But I could watch that movie and learn things about life like today, like things today that I could use. And I think that you not entertained part, there's like such depth in that one because it's like I felt like that was Russell Crowe even saying it, not just Maximus, like as an actor, like I'm sure actors feel like that, like we go and watch
Yeah.
these films for entertainment value, but it's like going back to what you were saying about Jim Carrey and stuff like that, like, and the comedians, like they give so much of themselves, and it's like they still can't please anybody. They can't please a full coliseum of people, a stadium full of people. There's always going to be one person that's going to find one thing and criticize you on it. Or, like how Joaquin Phoenix's character always does the thumbs up or thumbs down thing. Like that mirrors the life that we're living right now. Like likes and dislikes, like up, down, the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Even though he's saying like off with his head or whatever, that thumb really plays a big role in our life today, So I feel
Yeah,
like, yeah.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true.
What else about the movie? Why do you like the movie? Why do you like the movie?
So for me, when I watch a movie, all I care about is good characters and good writing, and that's pretty much it. And if I have good characters and good writing, but a crappy story or a good story, I'd like it. And this film, Maximus, was a good character. I could relate to him wanting to go home to
Yeah,
a certain degree, to a certain level. And the writing in this film, I mean, I can't say that there was never a dual moment because it was kind of a long, drawn out movie. And there were some dual moments, but overall, the writing was done very well and the dialogue was really well. I liked. I wish there would have been a little bit more humor in the movie because I feel like anything that is made is good. Humor kind of adds to the flavor. A lot of times, especially when you're getting to know a character. And
right.
I didn't think there was a whole lot of that in the movie, but overall, it was a good film. The dialogue, the writing, and the characters.
When's the first time you watched it? Did you watch it like back then? I can't remember how old you are, but were you around when
um,
it first came out?
yeah, I'm 22.
Oh God.
I was alive when it came out, but I've just never really watched it until like July. Whenever I was a lot younger, my dad numerous times tried to get me to watch Gladiator, Braveheart, and other stuff with him, but I
Yeah.
never would. But
But you
now
were
that I'm
you were
older,
you were 2 years old when it came out, I guess.
no, no, I mean over the years,
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
when, now, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was about a year old when it
A
came
year
out.
old. Yeah, yeah. No, no, I was just pointing that out because I'm like, wow. I'm 32. I'm 32 now. So I
Man, you're
was.
old. Just kidding. Yes.
That's what they say, man. That's what they say. Um, So what? I was born in '89, so I was about 10 or 11 when it came out, because it came out around '99, 2000. I think it was 2000 it came out.
Right.
So yeah, I was about 10 or 11 when the movie came out. You were about 1. So I saw it in real time. Like I was there when the movie was released. I remember seeing trailers of it on television, and like, oh, my
Yeah.
mom is the one that really got me into movies and TV shows, comic books. I collect a lot of action figures, and she just really taught me all these things, and the fascination of film really came from her, and her fascination of
Awesome.
it and TV and stuff. So for you it was your dad that kind of got you into movies, right?
No, I've I've always been into movies because it's just I've always just been more interested. It's always just been another world,
Yeah.
and so like kind of like an escape. Just feel so much at peace when I watch movies.
Yeah. Do you kind of put yourself in the role of the characters that you watch, kind of thing? Is it an escape like that, or what? Or what is it? Just define that
Well,
escape for you.
if a movie is written well enough, then I feel like I am part of that world.
Right.
Like not necessarily as one of the characters. I just feel like I'm part of it. Like I'm the character that's seeing everything. I'm in that world. I'm among this chaos.
That's how I feel. That's how I feel with like sci-fi movies, especially. Like I love my sci-fi. I love Blade Runner, but especially the new Blade Runner that was created. And excuse me, sorry, I really want to go see Dune. The new Dune. Have you seen it yet?
No,
Have you seen the old one?
no.
Oh man, you gotta watch it, man.
I, I've watched the old one sometime. I I just don't watch a whole lot of newer movies anymore, just because I've gotten so tired of them. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'll watch a new one every once in a while, but it's just I feel like newer movies are just so lazy usually.
Yes, yes.
And that's why, like on my podcast, that's why I always review older movies because there's even like you even if you watch an older movie and it is crappy, doesn't make sense, really messed up story, crappy, falls apart. It still feels like there's some sort of passion being made into this movie, even if it has terrible acting and everything in it is terrible.
Yeah,
Like to a certain degree, it feels like the people behind this cared about what they were doing.
yeah,
And nowadays, we're paying big corporations like Disney to entertain us, and they have the tools to make the best movie ever, but they just make them half ass basically.
yeah, yeah. It's solely for entertainment. And I agree with you. Like a lot of the older movies, they have substance. You could find some substance in them. There are some movies that are just really, really trash. But the older
Right.
movies, they were very unique. Like nowadays, all we get are really sequels, prequels, or remakes. There aren't any
Yeah.
new original ideas being made. It's all
That's true.
recycled ideas. Like I don't want I don't want a Gladiator sequel, but give me a movie that's just as good as Gladiator in 2021.
Right.
Like make a future Gladiator. Like what would Gladiator look like in like,
If he was a slave
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah. Like anything at that point. Like don't give us a continuation of something that is already closed. Like it's already closed. I felt complete when you closed that chapter. Now you're gonna reopen wounds, and then it's like, oh, now you're ruining its legacy.
Something I thought was interesting is, why do you think like TV shows and video games? Why do you think nowadays people care about that more than do about movies? Like, you know, people make a TV show. You know, depending on the movie, a movie takes up a lot of work and a TV show takes up a lot of work. But nowadays, it feels like people hear more about a TV show and do more for it, and then just kind of throw in as many movies as they can. But like TV shows and video games have so much better stories and are done so much better. Why is that?
I feel it's the way the platforms have been created now to present TV shows and stuff like that, because TV shows are like movies now. Like the quality of them, they're like they're being made like movies. And with all these streaming platforms, you have to make them like movies, because when you're watching something on a streaming channel, like the quality has to be up to par. And with all these streaming platforms, the focus is going to be TV shows now, because this is the new way people are watching television. They're not just watching your regular channel like ABC on regular cable. They're going to like a streaming network and they're looking for that content, that like in-house content. Like Netflix has their own series, Amazon has their own Amazon originals and stuff like that. So it's like you're watching high quality TV. These are like movies, but split up into episodic,
Right.
episodes or whatever, like little movies in a way. So you feel like you're getting more for your buck.
Yeah, for a TV show than you are for a movie.
For a movie, exactly. Especially when your TV show is being made like a movie, like it's really weird. Like I think for actors, I think they like to be in TV too, because it's long. It's like the long game. Like the money in
Right.
TV is more lasting than a
Money in the movie.
exactly. Because then there's the opportunity for season 2, season 3, season 4. You can renegotiate. Like I would love to be in TV more than a movie. A movie's cool. You make this little cameo or whatever. You got this little role, this little line, but TV is like, it's everlasting. What are your thoughts? Would you want to be in TV or film mostly?
It would depend on. I feel like I'd want to say movie, but it would depend on the story. Uh, what story would I feel more passionate about telling, being part of?
Yes. All right. So we've been in conversation for about an hour. We got to wrap up because we want people to kind of enjoy the episode and revisit us at a later date, so that we could kind of like, we want to give them these tidbits. Like they could clearly hear why we're on these calls, because we could really pick each other's brains and just talk a lot about just everything movie and film and TVs and stuff like that. So I think we're setting a really great tone and foundation. What do you think?
I agree with that. I got one question I was going to ask you real quick.
Sure.
So, did you feel like this movie was made with a lot of passion in it?
Passion. As I watch it, I would say yes. I would say there's a lot of passion involved in this project and this piece of art. Like, it's art.
Right.
And that's what I look for when watching films. Like, not the computer graphics. Like, even though computer generated images, they are art, there's something about a movie like Gladiator. It's just fine art. It's like a classic piece of art that you could hang on the wall. You know what I mean? Where like the art that's created for like these superhero movies, like I would just keep them in my phone. Like images in my phone, digital art versus like physical, tangible art that you'll hang on your wall and pass it down to like generations,
True that.
What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with all that. I felt like this movie had a lot of passion, and I felt like everyone involved in it cared about what they were doing.
Yes. We should
And
go. Sorry.
And like you said, I felt like this film was art in itself.
Yes. We should develop a rating system, you and I. Like,
I did. I'd love that. I've watched a lot of people do film reviews, and I don't understand their rating systems. I've tried doing one myself, and I'm not good at like okay, my mind's not good, but if I had someone yeah, that'd be cool.
all right, so for today, let's give it like a out of 10 rating. But I think offline, you and I can discuss coming up with our own unique rating system, like whether it's like 3 mics out of 5 or like two. I don't know. We 2 stars. We don't want to do the star thing. We don't want to do like thumbs up or thumbs down. Or maybe we could adapt the rating system with every movie, because like Joaquin Phoenix's character, he does the thumbs up, thumbs down. So like for
Yeah.
Gladiator, we could do thumbs up, but like for another movie, we could do stars or rating, like number ratings, or out of 100. But we got to figure out. We got to fine tune that.
All right. We would have to do that at a later time, but as of right now, we can just do a thumbs up, and then we can talk or video chat some other time and talk about it more.
100%. So we agree. Thumbs up, Gladiator.
Yeah, yeah. Gladiator's thumbs up.
All right. So we'll make sure we put that in the description. Thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to watch. We encourage you to watch Gladiator. If you're looking for some substance, if you're tired of the same old, if you're a young kid, you're 8 years old and you're interested in Roman whatever, like all that type of history and stuff like that, and the real
Yeah.
gladiator, the stuff that they used to do in the Colosseums and stuff like that, and you're interested in that history, Terry and I would definitely suggest you go and watch Ridley Scott's Gladiator. And Ridley Scott
True
is a
that.
great director. A lot of his older movies, he gave us Gladiator, he gave us Alien, he gave us Blade Runner, he gave us G.I. Jane. Like go look at his his long list of his filmography, and indulge in some real art, especially if you're an upcoming filmmaker or an actor. Any last words you want to share with the people, Terry?
Um, Not really. Just happy to be part of this.
Yes, as am I. Tell the people where they could find your show and where they could find you as well.
Faithful Film Fanatic. I should be on any podcast. Right now, I have an Instagram account, the Faithful Film Fanatic, a TikTok, Faithful Film Fanatic, and I'm working on getting a website put together. But make sure you check it out. Got a lot of new things coming out. So
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Check Terry out. He's my boy from Arkansas, and he's an actor, upcoming actor. He's a fellow podcaster, and we're here just talking about films, movies, but somehow we end up talking about other life things that kind of mesh into the whole movie and film and TV talk, and just talking about art in general and what it means to us. So you'll get to get in touch with him. I'll put his links in the description of the episode. Follow the Faithful Film Fanatic podcast, and keep in touch with him on all of his social media platforms, especially TikTok. Like I said, we'll put the links in the description. You know the slogan: you are the Who and How Club, I am the Who and How Club, and we are the who's and hows of this world. Without you, without me, there is no we. So while we're here together, why don't we just connect? Whether you're in Arkansas or you're in Toronto, come together, have conversations, and pick each other's brains on our perspectives on art and all of that jazz. That's what you should do, because we could all learn something from one another. All right, it's your boy Arys Dejan checking in. We'll touch base within a week. All right, hope all is well, everyone, and hope everyone's good in Arkansas too. Shout out to all of our supporters over there.
for sure.
All right, one.